Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning. Alhamdulillah, we have been listening to some lively point of views from Professor Chandra and Dr. Azmi and His Excellency. And I would like to start with this note of disappointment. Actually, I've been getting a lot of inquiries from disillusioned Malaysian, so many of them on the Facebook, on WhatsApp. Why don't just the Palestinians give up? Why don't you let them have Jerusalem? Why don't you just let the Israelis have Jerusalem? So it looks like these sort of responses, these sort of reactions shows that how much ignorant Malaysians are when it comes to the Palestinian issue. They try to gloss it over. Why don't we just give up and let everybody live in peace? So I have come to the point that there's a lot more need to be done with our fellow Malaysians. I'm not worried about our Palestinian brothers. They are on the right track. But the fellow Malaysians, these are the ones who will stand in the way and will slow down the process of liberating Palestine. So I'm sorry to say this as an opening remark. That's how I feel, and I think we have to work a lot more harder to convince our fellow Malaysian. I'm not just talking about I'm talking about the Malays, the Malay Muslims, who have become disillusioned, but without having any knowledge at all whatsoever of what is happening for the past 70 years or so. So the process of educating the masses has to be in line and has to be done in a serious manner. What have been deliberated by Professor Chandra, I think is enough for us to have a complete history of the background of the Palestinian issue. Maybe I would like to add a few points here and there on the status of Jerusalem or Baitul Maqdis. A lot of people think that Baitul Maqdis is at par with Mecca and Medina. And so some of them were saying that you have Mecca and Medina. So why don't you just let the Jews have the Baitul Maqdis or Jerusalem? It shows on one part the ignorance of the status of the city of Baitul Maqdis. Now, no doubt, Al-Haramain, Mecca and Medina, are the two spiritual centers of the Muslims, exclusive for the Muslims. But we need to we have to be certain that the position of Baitul Maqdis is the same as in Mecca and Medina. No doubt, Al-Haram Al-Sharif, the boundaries, the four walls of Masjid Al-Aqsa, that is sacred to the Muslims. But the whole city, the city of Baitul Maqdis, is actually an open city for all. And this has been actually declared and announced by Umar al-Khattab when he entered the city in the year 637 AD, when he declared the peaceful or the declaration of peace al-Uqda al-Umuriyah, which guarantees the personal safety and the possessions of those who reside in and around Baitul Maqdis. and also the right for them to practice their religion, and also to preserve the sanctity of the house of worship of every religion. That is the religion of the Abrahamic religion, the Jews, the Christians, and also the Muslims. And this guarantee was actually restored again by Salahuddin al-Ayyubi when he took over from the Crusaders. Now, as in the case of the Crusaders, which was repeated again, effectively started in 1917 with the declaration of the Balfour Declaration. What is happening today is a colonial project, and it is strange that still many people on the globe endorse this colonial project when colonialism is wrong down the ages. No doubt that we are the product of a colonial project of many of the countries today around the globe. But colonialism is wrong. Then, now, and forever. So it is the hypocrisy on the part of the civilized world to endorse the existence of Israel, a foreign colonial power that took over Palestine, usurped the land and misappropriated the land, expelled the people, and took every measure to Judaize the state. Like Professor Chandra mentioned just now, Zionism is an ideology that is devoid of any religious belief. It is an atheist movement among the Jewish people, and it has got nothing to do with religion. So the whole world must come together in support of the Palestinian cause to face this onslaught of anti-religion, in fact, anti-humanity. That's why we are trying to get across the message that this is not a religious issue per se. This is an issue of a humanitarian background, and as such, every one of us who has the conscience, the free world, must come together and liberate and free the people of Palestine from this yoke, colonial yoke, which manifests itself in the form of Zionism today. My dear brothers and sisters, I want to also make some comments on the so-called two-state solution. I agree very much with what Professor Chandra has mentioned, that a two-state solution has been a farce. It's just a matter of buying time, while they keep on changing the realities on the ground. Now, the landscape in the West Bank, for instance, has made it virtually impossible to create a Palestinian state. What we are seeing are just patches of land, a collection of patches of land which is more akin to a Bantustan. Pieces of land that are separated by military checkpoints, roadblocks, and it hinders the movement of the Palestinian people, so much so that it is as if they are being denied of existing at all. If we look at the promises that has been made over the years, for instance, the Oslo Accord of 1987, it says that beyond 5 years after the Oslo Accord, then the Palestinian state will become a reality. But the reality on the ground is such that it is impossible to imagine, let alone create a cohesive state. Yeah? There are more than 200,000 settlements all over the place, and they keep on building more settlements. But the good news is, this is why we have never lost hope. The world opinion, the free world, the conscience of the world is now with the Palestinian people. And there are ample evidence to prove this. For instance, way back in 2014, I think it's about 140 countries, more than 140 countries, endorsed the state of Palestine as a sovereign state, yeah, which is unprecedented in the history of the United Nations. And again, when Trump declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, we have seen 128 countries actually went against or did not agree to what has been announced by Trump. And there's only about 9 countries. How many countries that actually abstained? 20, 35 countries that abstained. And let me assure you, these 35 countries, they abstain out of respect, actually. They abstain out of respect for the Palestinian state. At the same time, they did not incur the wrath of the United States. But they don't want to be seen as complicit to the Israeli project. And the 9 states, so look at these 9 states. What are these 9 states? Nauru, Micronesia. These are actually US military bases somewhere in the Pacific, which the Americans took over from Japan right after Second World War. These are vassal states, and their existence is meaningless. So it's probably 1 or 2 states, America and Israel, actually, for Trump. The rest of the world is on the side of the Palestinians. That's why we must not give up hope. And one of the biggest weapon, effective weapon, is civil movement. And the most effective strategy now is boycott, divestment, and sanction. It is so effective that Israel, for the past year, has lost in the region of 4.7 billion US dollars in terms of trade, and they actually have to come up with a ministry, a functional ministry that has to deal specifically with BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanction. This is one of the most effective strategy in facing up with Israel, because the biggest support actually comes from the civil society in the West. In the European countries, in New Zealand, we have BDS Korea, we have BDS Thailand, we have BDS USA. So we are seeing the civil society, people of the right mind, are coming together to actually challenge the powers that be and what have been deliberated before. US is a spent force. It is being challenged all over. It's being challenged by the US. When Trump withdrew financial aid to Pakistan, yeah, because Pakistan was against the declaration, about 3.6 billion US dollar was actually withdrawn to Pakistan, and China immediately came to Pakistan aid. So it's meaningless. The threat of Trump now sounds hollow. So this is the right time. And like Professor Azmi just now said, we should be thankful to Trump because he is being honest. Yeah? He is being honest. All this while, America has actually recognized Jerusalem or Baitul Maqdis as the capital of Israel. For instance, during the Bush administration, there was a circular saying that whenever the word Jerusalem is mentioned, it should be followed by the capital of Israel. This is an official circular, although it is not made public or made known worldwide, but it is a circular. It is an instruction as a recognition that U.S. actually recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Only Trump has the gut. Only Trump has the gut to actually make it public, and I think we should be. We should be thankful to Trump in this case because it makes things clear. Yeah? It makes things clear that the U.S. is a dishonest broker of peace. Ever since U.S. played that role as a broker of peace, we always gave hope that U.S. will play her role well, but Trump has spilled the bean. He has been a dishonest broker of peace all this while, and it will remain so. And this will actually garner all the forces of good in this world to be with the Palestinian cause, and I think victory is nearer than we thought. Palestine will be free. Yeah? Perhaps in our own lifetime. The only thing that we need to do is to be state first and to stand by with our brothers and sisters in Palestine and never to give up hope, even though it looks like all the Arab regimes now is actually in cahoot with the Israeli project. It wouldn't matter. I just came back from Umrah actually. And on 2 occasions, in Medina and Mecca, I was invited by the Malaysian community to deliberate on the Baitul Maqdis and the current issue. It is so surprising that they have very little information on what is going on. It shows that how suppressive the regime is. And I tell all, yeah, because I have already performed the Hajj and Umrah, Alhamdulillah, like Prof. Chandra. But it shows that they are trying to deny their own subject, yeah, from knowing the truth. And we know that the latest development, ladies will be allowed to drive in Saudi. Ladies will be allowed to drive in Saudi. After Eid, the next Eid, they will be officially allowed to drive. And I don't think it comes from the conscience. I think it's an imposition by the Americans. And also they have also switched from Taqwim Hijri, the Islamic calendar, to the Gregorian calendar. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but they did it now not because out of conscience, yeah, but because it is being imposed by the American. So I agree with Professor Chandra and also Dr. Azmi that Saudi is part of the Israeli project. In fact, if we go back into history, the formation of Ibn Saud, the Kingdom of Saud, yeah, the dissolution of Najd, yeah, under Sharif Hussein, this has got a lot to do with Project Israel. So let us put our hands together in support of the Palestinian cause, and may Allah support our struggle to the end.